Welcome to the SIWIKE podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier podcast. We're here with one of our new guest hosts on the youth side, on the student side, Faaiz, and I'll have you do a little bit of an introduction. But what are you up to right now? And then we'll get into your journey as a kid. So what are you up to these days, Faaiz?
All right, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So my name is Faaiz. I'm originally from Karachi, Pakistan. I'm currently in my second year of my Bachelor's in Business Administration degree, and I currently study at the University of Toronto in Mississauga. Other than that, I'm also a project manager and social media manager for the Tribe, which is a youth development organization based in Karachi, Pakistan.
Sounds good. So tell us a little bit more about Faaiz growing up. So I'll address you as Faaiz because I think that's what you suggested. But what were you like growing up? What were you like as a kid? Kind of early fond memories as a little wee one. What were you like growing up?
Yeah, so growing up, I was really a shy kid. Like I was one of those, as like a baby, I was one of those babies that like always stuck by, his mother, right? So whenever there's like lots of people that I didn't know or something like that, I would always be like, right next to my mother. And even now when I meet, these, these aunties and stuff, 17, 18 years later, they're like, oh, you were always right next to your mother and, hugging her leg and stuff like that. So I was a pretty shy kid growing up. And in fact, there's one funny story which contradicts that narrative. So my father told me that one time he was watching me play in the playground. I must have been like 2 years old back then,
Okay.
and I was just playing, minding my own business, and then some other kid who's like probably twice my height or something just comes and pushes me.
Ooh.
Okay, then I get pushed onto the ground. I just get back up, and my dad just told me that I just pushed him back, and that kid fell back on the ground as well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, I was always a really shy and not that confident kid. But I never had a problem with connecting with people and making new friends and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So
tell us a little bit more about kind of that journey from being a bit of a shy kid more to kind of where you are now. So being someone who can make connections, like it could be that typical kind of introvert extrovert where actually introverts, people who kind of seem like they're shy may not be, right? It's just more that they like to develop their relationships like one-on-one or in small groups versus in a big giant crowd. So was that kind of you? You're able to kind of individually or in smaller groups develop your relationships, but like in a big giant conference or networking event or something, you're like, like get me out of here, that sort of thing. Or what was that journey like?
yeah, I think that definition you gave of introvert extrovert really sort of was right on the money. So yeah, growing up, that was the only way I could sort of make friends. Like if it was like a one-on-one thing, then I would really easily sort of connect with that person and get to know them. But if there's like, let's say like a group presentation or something like that, then I was sort of like have a harder time trying to raise my voice and trying to say that, voice my ideas and stuff like that, because I was always so afraid of like, oh, what if they think it's a dumb idea or something like that, right? So that was sort of what my problem was. But then as the years went by, sort of uh, I've developed a tendency and a tolerance for being able to be in like much larger groups and being able to stand out and enjoy standing out in those groups. But in terms of the story of how I got there, so I have to start back when I was in Karachi, Pakistan. So I was really not that confident of a kid up until I'd say grade 6. Okay. And what changed in grade 6 was that my mother, she sent me to this sort of weekly like boys get together where you would come, where like a bunch of teenage boys would get together, play some sports, and then after that, the supervisors of that event or that program, they would sit all the boys down, and then they would give like this sort of like 15 or 20 minute like a lecture or talk about something about a religion, Islam. Okay. And I was never interested in the sports part of it. Like I'm still not that much of a sports addict or anything like that. I don't watch any sports. I enjoy playing some sports, but whenever I would go to those weekly programs, I was always really interested in that uh, sports. Sorry, in that lecture section of the program, because before then I wasn't really learning that much about my religion. And I remember all the way back in grade 3, I was really curious about how do I even know that I'm following the right one, right? Because uh, you know, a Hindu is going to say, oh, my religion is the only correct one. A Christian is going to say, my religion is the only correct one. A Muslim is also going to say, my religion is the only correct one. And that disagreement got to me, because I was like, wait, how come everyone is saying that they follow the right religion,
Mhm.
and I don't even know why I follow this one, right? Like, I didn't have any reasons. I remember turning to my friend one day in grade 3 and asking him this, and he was just like so like so confused. It's like, why are you even asking this? But yeah, so I guess from very young age, there's like this sort of thirst for searching for something, for the truth, right? But of course, when I was younger, like, I had these little spurts of sort of existential crises or something like that. But then I'll go back to just being a kid, because children don't really think about that much about it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
They occasionally say something meaningful, and then it just goes back to, what am I going to eat right now? What am I going to play right now? Kind of thing. So then those classes which I would attend in grade 6 to all the way up to like 8 or 9, those really helping me learn that my religion, Islam, it's not just sort of a religion in the conventional sense, right? It's not just something that you, for example, we pray 5 times a day. It's not something that you do 5 times a day and then you're done,
Mhm.
right? You're not Muslim 5 times a day. You're Muslim 24/7, 365.
Sure.
And more than that, it expanded my thinking and my outlook on it, because it's not just sort of a set of rituals and beliefs. It's also a philosophy. It's also like an ideology, a way of looking at every single situation and scenario in your entire life. It has the solution for every single thing that you can possibly encounter in your life, and that's part of the miraculous nature of it. So really, that's where I sort of found out the meaning of my life,
Mm.
right? And when it comes to stuff I wish I knew earlier, in terms of how to find out what job/career you want to pursue, I would say that there's 3 steps, 3 simple steps.
Okay.
Step 1 is very easy: find the meaning of life.
Okay.
The second step is find the purpose of your life.
Okay.
And step 3 is find the job that fulfills your purpose in life.
Okay.
So to just elaborate on what I mean there is, the meaning of your life is that overarching sort of why to everything. Why do I live? Why do I exist? Why is the universe here and everything? And then the purpose of your life is, how do you specifically as an individual play a role in all of this,
Okay.
right? So alhamdulillah, all praise and thanks due to God are due to God. I found out the meaning of life pretty pretty quick, but I had no idea what my purpose in life was, in terms of what am I going to do, right? I had no idea what, like, job or what career I wanted to chase after and stuff. And that was like a really big question, which haunted me all the way up to, like, I'd say, first year of university. Yeah, I only recently found out what my purpose in life is. So continuing with the story, I was basically just attending a lot of those sort of Islamic classes and stuff like that, and sort of building my confidence through that, because I realized through the stories and stuff of how, you learn how the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how he empowered his companions, his closest friends and allies, how empowered they were through this message. And it's a very simple message. It's just, the Islam has, you know 1400 years of scholarship, and there's thousands, tens of thousands of books and everything written about it, and everything about extremely nuanced and technical aspects of, oh, can you do this, can you not do this, and all kinds of things. But all of that boils down to just one simple foundation, and that's called Tawheed, which means La ilaha illallah in Arabic, which means that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah. all of it is built on that. And that's what gave me all of my confidence, because I found out that if I don't need to care about what other people are saying, I only need to concern myself with my relationship with God. If I'm good with God, then everything else is going to sort itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Only God can help me. No one else is going to has the true ability to influence things in the universe and things like that. So it's you have to just completely sort of focus really yourself on improving your relationship with God, or Allah, as we say in Arabic. That's the name. So uh, yeah, those classes really helped me in that way. And then another huge confidence boost for me was in grade 10, I believe. No, it was grade 11. Sorry, in grade 11, I was just going to school one day, and then we were all called into the school's like seminar room, and there's someone from this organization called the Barak Planetary Society.
Okay.
And one thing that you have to know about me is that I was that really sort of nerdy, smart kid. Like I was known as like the smartest kid in class and stuff like that. And everyone knew me as that sort of sciencey kind of kid. So this Barak Planetary Society thing was basically uh, the so that sorry that representative, she told us about how there's this space camp which happens in Pakistan every winter.
Okay.
Okay, and in order to get into that space camp, what you do is you have to fill out this, like you have to take this test basically, and that test is taken nationwide. So you have like students from all over the entire country taking that test. All right, and you have to register for the test, and only the top 40 scorers get to attend. Okay, so this is kind of weird, but when I first heard that, I just knew. Luki, I don't know if you like have had a similar experience, but sometimes when you hear something and you just think like, I know that I'm going to do this. I know that I have to do this, right? I had that kind of a feeling about it. So then I registered for the test. I gave the test, and then Alhamdulillah, I was selected for the program, for the camp. I attended the camp, and that was a huge confidence boost for me, because throughout my life, like, you know, you hear people saying like, "Oh, you're so talented" and everything, but it was really hard for me to believe that, because I never really utilized and actualized those skills in any meaningful way. So, but thanks to this like space camp which I attended, I realized that, you know, maybe I can do one or two cool things in life. So that really boosted my confidence. So after I attended that, I sort of came back with a an even stronger desire to find my purpose in life, basically, right? Because during that camp, one really big message they try to tell the cadets, that's what you call the participants, the cadets, is that basically, you know, you guys are like really gifted and talented, and you guys have to use those gifts to, you know, help our country, right? To improve the state of our country and stuff. So I was like, all right, that's also a really good message, and I want to find out how exactly I'm going to do that, right? Am I going to make, I don't know, the cure for cancer? Am I going to you know, develop some sentient AI which is going to save everyone or something? I don't know. So uh, that's basically what that camp did for me. And then uh, coming back onto the Islamic classes thing, those Islamic classes were where I met my first mentor, and his name was Ishaq bin Sadiq. So and I call him Ishaq Bhai, which means like brother, sort of Ishaq brother,
Mm-hmm.
brother Ishaq, right? So what Ishaq Bhai did for me was he really helped me answer those sort of questions about and those doubts about Islam, right? For example, how do I know God exists? How do I know that uh, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that means peace and blessings be upon him? How do I know that he was a true prophet? And you know, these types of questions. And I have to owe a very good chunk of my spirituality to him, because he really helped nurture that and foster that. So, and he completely broke the stereotype. So when you're growing up in Pakistan, there's a sort of this stereotype that anyone who's religious they're extremely judgmental. They're so, you know, short-tempered, and they're like not fun at all to be around, basically, right? But he completely broke that stereotype for me. He was really calm. I was asking him questions that were like really sort of you could say controversial in a
Mm.
sense, and he was like completely okay with it. He was always answering like questions and everything, and he was really fun to be around. He would be, playing football with us, playing cricket with us, and everything. So I owe a lot to that man, and I continue to owe to him because he's still my mentor, and I'll touch upon that later. So then later on, I want to skip to my first year of university. My first year of university, it's a long story, but I sort of got back in touch with Ishaq, with my mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out that he's starting a new organization called the Tribe, which
Mm.
is all about developing the youth. The motto is nurturing the flag bearers of excellence.
Mm.
And the way we do that is basically through the same things that we were already doing, just sort of being chill and playing with kids, and sort of following this model of trying to make religion, trying to break stereotypes about religion and everything, right?
Right.
So I joined the Tribe, and I also started my first year of university. And when I started university, I was actually studying computer science
Mm.
my first year. And the reason why I chose computer science was because, well, you have to do something, right? You can't just say, I'm not going to study anything at university.
Sure.
And like I said, I had no idea what I wanted to do before then. So I was studying computer science, and I was also working for the Tribe at the same time. And what my job was at the Tribe was basically to, first of all, manage the social media. But another sort of unofficial job which I was doing was sort of managing this weekly event program which we would do, which is very similar to the ones which I described earlier. The one where you like have, let's say, if it's a 2-hour program, 1 hour 30 minutes just playing, and then the rest 30 minutes is a nice like motivational talk or something.
Sure.
So I'm doing both of these things side by side, and as the year is going along, I'm becoming increasingly unsatisfied by computer science and increasingly satisfied with my roles at the Tribe.
Sure.
And that made me realize that I'm not a desk job type of person, right? And also, after sort of interacting with those kids and seeing how much fun that they can have with Islam and with the religion and everything, and how passionate they can get about it, I realized that this is what I don't want to do. This is my purpose in life.
Right.
It's to give dawah, as we say in Arabic. In Islam, we call it give dawah, which means to invite people to Islam,
Mm.
right? So that's basically where I'm at with the purpose section of things. And I know that you, Luki, your goal is to make Toronto like the mentorship capital of the world, right?
Right.
So actually, to be honest, I consider you my competitor in that aspect. So instead of just Toronto, my goal is to make the entire Muslim Ummah into this huge like mentor-mentee sort of system, right? Like imagine 1.8 billion people, and each person has like a mentor and a mentee, and they both sort of help each other get closer to God and to also achieve their objectives in this life as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, helping them out in school, helping them out when it comes to finding jobs and stuff like that. So yeah, you and I are in the same industry in a sense.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that story. So first of all, thanks for sharing all of that and your journey so far. And what I took from some of that, and obviously it's still continuing. There's going to be a lot more. You're only in second year. There's a lot more to be had. But it sounds like from a journey perspective for someone so young who started kind of shy and introverted, they didn't want to connect with folks. They had a couple of things where ultimately it was kind of belief that allowed you to have, you know what, I can do it, as long as for yourself, it was having faith in Allah and in God, that sort of thing. For other people, it could be other things that they have kind of faith in. And from there, you get confidence to be able to do what you want to do. And then you continue down the path. You had a lot of mentors to kind of help you along the way. So that's definitely a lot of advice where you should, for everybody listening, go and find a couple of mentors and maybe even be a mentor yourself and share some of your wisdom across the board. And then what I also took from that is to challenge a little bit of your assumptions, because, well, you started off computer science and realized, well, that wasn't what you wanted to do, right? And a lot of folks are in their kind of university college degree and say, well, let me just finish it. I only have 2 more years, 3 more years, 1 year left, that sort of thing. Versus, you know what? Why? Why can't I spend the next 1, 2, 3 years doing something that I actually enjoy and exploring? And part of that was really reflecting and having that understanding there as well. So I think a lot of that is great. And in terms of like the whole kind of mentorship thing, yeah, I mean, we're competitors, but we're not. For me, I actually have shifted my focus a little bit, instead of making it the mentorship capital of the world, to make it the menteeship capital of the world. And the main reason is that like, I find that mentors, they're a little bit bottlenecked, in the sense that I can only mentor maybe 1 to 5 people if I were to do it justice, right? But as a mentee, you can ask 5 people, you can ask 27 people, you can ask 300 people for advice and guidance, right? And a mentor doesn't have to be kind of like put a ring on it and get married to that person. It could
Yeah.
be a trusted advisor that you ask for advice on occasion, right? Because your brother was it Isaac, that you haven't connected with him for a while, and then you did, and then you didn't, and then you did, right? So he's kind of a mentor, even though you might have not spoken to him for months on end, that sort of thing. So those are a couple of useful tidbits that I think we'd want to get into. Maybe a deeper dive in religion, a deeper dive in like mentorship, a deeper dive in kind of youth inspiration and things like that, and then talking a little bit about finding your purpose, I think would be a very useful thing for kind of a future episode. But what are some of the kind of other general SWIKE, the stuff I wish I knew earlier, that you'd want to share, in addition to what else that you've had? Or what are you up to in the next little while, kind of your future aspirations?
All right. Yeah. So just another point of that mentorship thing that you mentioned. Yeah, it's definitely like, you don't need to put a ring on on a particular person, right? You can have many mentors.
Yeah.
And just like, sort of Isaac Vai is my sort of mentor when it comes to my religion. I have lots of other people that I go to for a million other things, right? For example, if I have a question about, let's say, uh, back when I had any questions about computer science, I would go to my cousin, because he was really easy person to access, and he was also in a higher upper year of his computer science degree, so he would help me out a lot over there as well. So yeah, you don't need to sort of stick to one person, and it's more like you need to find one person for each thing in your life, I guess.
Sure.
Right? And what else did you mention?
Any other SWIKE, the stuff I wish I knew earlier, kind of more,
Right.
that you haven't mentioned before. I mean, you've already
Yeah.
talked about a lot. And then future aspirations, anything that we can look forward to hearing you do more of in the future.
Yeah, so one more thing which I wish I knew earlier was, I wish I knew that the world wasn't as rulesy as it seems. So what I mean by that is, you go wherever you go, there are rules, right? But when you look at, the biggest entrepreneurs and everything, you find that they didn't, I'm not going to say break the law and stuff, but I mean is, take the initiative and challenge those rules from time to time. So for example, only recently, I remember at that DBL workshop which you gave, that LinkedIn profile workshop that you gave, which I attended actually, and that's how I sort of contacted you for this podcast. After that was over, after you left, I was just talking to the team, and then I just asked them, like, are you guys hiring? And then they were like, oh, unfortunately, the hiring phase is done and everything. And then I just said, what makes you say that?
Okay.
And then there was like, literally, it was like a 3 or 5 second pause. And then they were like, what do you mean? What makes you say that? I was like, what makes you say that you're done hiring? And then there was another 3 to 5 second pause. And then they were like, well, actually, I guess you're right. So then they were like, well, I guess there is no reason why we can't hire you, right? So then 2 days later, I became the social media manager for that student club.
Sure. Yeah. And sometimes it's just the power of asking, right? And having confidence that says, you know what, I can add value. So why wouldn't you want me? Some of that goes back to the confidence that you instill on yourself, which I think is great. So
exactly, like, and also, for example, in that situation, what was the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is that they were going to say no to me and I wasn't going to get a job.
Yep.
But that's also what's going to happen if I didn't say anything at all. So I may as well just say it, because that 1% chance might come out actually happening, and you might actually end up getting a job or some
For sure.
other really nice outcome. So yeah, that's what I mean by I wish I knew the world wasn't as rosy as it seems. And another thing which I wish I knew earlier was that people aren't rational robots, right?
Hmm.
So like I mentioned uh, earlier, I was like a really sort of sciencey, like logic loving type of kid, okay?
Right.
And because of that, that sort of at times it would hurt my ability to connect with people
Hmm.
because I really didn't like talking to people who were more emotion than rational reasoning, right?
Right.
So, and I really learned this when I started really getting passionate about my religion and everything. I wanted to sort of try and convince people that this is a true religion and that we should try to follow it, right? So I remember I would go to my classmates. Everyone was Muslim, obviously, but uh, I sort of wanted to instill this passion in them, right? And one common objection that that many people bring up when it comes to religion is like, oh, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make rational sense to me.
Hmm.
But Islam is, I feel like, the only religion which creates this harmony between logic, spirituality, and, you know, the day-to-day experience of being a human being, basically.
Hmm.
So I would open and have a conversation with someone, and they would say, you know what, you've convinced me, but I don't think I'm going to change anything in my life.
Hmm.
And that's when that would always sort of stump me, right? Because it was like, but you're the one who said that it didn't make sense to you. So why, now that it makes sense to you, why don't you want to, I don't know, start praying 5 times a day and everything, right? Then later on, I found out that actually there's more to convincing someone of something, right? I think it was like Aristotle or something, someone who said that there's like three parts of a convincing argument. There's
Okay.
like logos, pathos, and ethos. Logos is the rational part,
Mhm.
pathos is, I believe, uh, the emotional side, and ethos is the ethics side.
Hmm.
And even when you look at the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he announced his prophethood, majority of the people who, if not all of them, I think, they accepted Islam simply because they knew his character.
Hmm.
They knew that they've already lived like 40 years with him, and then he announces prophethood. So they already knew that this man is a trustworthy man. He has excellent character, so he's not going to lie to us, right? And that's what I was missing, because the way I was trying to convince people was as if it was almost as if I was looking at the example that uh, sorry, the way that I was trying to convince people, it was not something that you would really find in the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's not like whenever people would come and ask him about Islam, he would have like a 6 hour debate with them.
Okay.
He would sort of emotionally disarm them with his amazing character, and that would make them open to wanting to accept the message, right? And that's when I realized that actually you have to be human. You can't just be a robot, right? So that's something which I wish I knew earlier.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of humanistic emotions. The rational part is a very small part of humans, and sometimes you can get through to it that way. Most of the time, you can't. So yeah. So thanks for sharing your story. We'll probably do a deeper dive in other topics. But what are some of the future aspirations that we can look forward to catching up with you on, and where can folks reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
Okay, yeah. So in terms of future aspirations is just making it through university at the moment. And other than that, yeah, just sort of continuing with the tribe and seeing where it goes. Like we started this organization only 2 years ago, and it's gone from sort of having pretty much only the team members attending the events to like, we now have like 9 regular weekly programs which happen for kids, and
Wow.
each of those has like 60, 80 kids coming at in each and every single class or
Mm.
something like that. And it's really amazing how that growth has happened. And it shows that we're doing the right thing, because obviously one kid goes, he has a great time, he goes and tells the other kids, right? And
Right.
then they all start coming. So I just want to see where that journey is going to take me. And I'm definitely sort of focusing on increasing my own spirituality, even here in Canada.
And can folks reach out to you on LinkedIn or email, or what's the best place to connect with you?
Yes, 100%. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I really don't have any standards for when it comes to accepting connection requests. So you don't even need to send me a message. But if you send me a message saying, "Oh, I heard you on the podcast," that's gonna really help me feel good.
Sounds good. So thanks so much, Faaiz, for sharing your story, your passion, and your interest, and kind of that journey to find your purpose. And I know you're still on that journey, but we'll look forward to having you back and kind of connecting with you and see how it goes. So thanks so much for joining, and hopefully we'll have you back for a future episode.
Yeah, definitely. It was an honor and a privilege to be on the podcast and to connect with you further, Luki.
Sounds good. Take care.
You too.
Thanks for joining us on the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Luki Danu, LUKIDANU, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.